every week of this talking about the NFL and college football and the MLB playoffs, so on, so on. I mean, it's a really good time, honestly. Having the MLB playoffs and having football season going on, NHL starting. This has been really one of the best times to be a sports fan. So I'll be joining me here by Spears Bills talk in just a few moments, but obviously right now, what I'm gonna do is recap what happened last week. Let's start with the pay-per-view that happened over the weekend. It was Bad Blood. I mean, it was actually for like a not a big pay-per-view. Actually, they did a really good job. To give WWE a lot of credit, what they did. So they did a really good job. Oh yeah, I'm ready too. I mean, but yeah, so CM Punk defeated Drew McIntyre. Probably one of the most, brutal Hell in a Cell matches I've seen probably as a fan. I mean, I've watched WWE for years, but that was just so brutal. But CM Punk got the win, which I had a feeling that was gonna happen. And man, probably the match of the year. The way those two came out and just played. So, I mean, that was a really good match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. So that feud is officially over. We don't know what's next for those two superstars. Let's move on to the next match that happened also. Mostly WWE Women's Championship match. Nia Jax and Bayley. I mean, Nia Jax was a champ, but she successfully retained her championship, beating Bayley. I said Nia was going to win. Sure enough, did so. I read really good on these picks, even the WWE. So I read really well on these picks this week. So Nia Jax is still WWE Women's Champion. Damian Priest and Finn Balor, of course, these were former tag team partners, but now turned bitter enemies. So Priest got revenge on Finn Balor, got what he wanted. All right, my guest is joining in right now, I think. There he is, Spears Bills talk. So I was 3 for 3 in picks at the time. So Damian Priest got revenge. Let's see if we got connection here. That's been the big storyline today. I mean, it really has. When Robert Saleh gets fired by the Jets, that's what scares me. That's what scares me going into that Monday night game. That's all right. But all right. So yeah, Damian Priest beat Finn Balor, which I got. I got that one right. But then move on to the women's championship match. Rhea Ripley ended up. Technically won the match, but she didn't win the championship. So I technically got that one wrong because of disqualification. So it ended in no contest. Then the main event was Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Then, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns won, beating Bloodline. I said that was so I went 4 for 5 on the WWE picks over the weekend. So yeah, not too bad for Cedar Mick doing well on these pay-per-view picks. But let's move on. Let's talk about the NLB over the weekend. I mean, the divisional series started over the weekend. All of them are even, but there's a couple of teams. There's 3 teams now facing elimination. I mean, today the Tigers won, so they're one win away from pulling off another upset and advancing all the way to the ALCS now. I mean, if they beat Cleveland tomorrow, but if Cleveland wins, they force. Oh, that's all right. But we'll have you back eventually. But yeah, back in a little bit once you get that figured out. But yeah, so that's what happens. Guardians need to force a game 5 if they want to keep their season alive. But if the Tigers win tomorrow, their Cinderella story continues. Really good for them. Of course, the Mets too. Like they're probably. I mean, their playoff run as an underdog team has been looking well so far too. I wonder what the score is in that game. I'll look at that one. Because I'm interested to see how that game ended up. Oh, we got a final. So Mets have officially moved on. The Phillies are done. Wow. Who would have thought? Who would have thought the Phillies would be the first? One of those powerhouse teams nationally to get knocked out by the rival Mets. So yay, Mets are going to the NLCS. Good for them. We got our first elimination in this round. First elimination in this round. So we are down to 7 teams now officially. Congratulations to the New York Mets. Phillies had such a great season, and then get an early exit. My New York Yankees can get it going. So the Yankees win tonight. They play again tomorrow because the series is even at 1 right now. But if they win tomorrow, if they win tonight and tomorrow, they win these next 2 games, they're moving on. So they just got to win these next 2 games tonight and tomorrow. But if not, if it goes all the way to 5 games, we got to figure out a way to win, at least 2 more games. That's all we got to do is win these next 2 because best of 5 series. That is the what? Yeah, that is the what if question. But so yeah, we finally got a team that's moving on to the the National League Championship game. It's the Mets. So Mets either facing the Padres or the Dodgers. So who do I want the Mets? I kind of want to see Mets Dodgers, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing LA get knocked out too. Seeing underdogs strategy for both the National League. I really want a Yankees Tigers series for the ALCS. Since I got family from Michigan that are Tiger fans, so it'll be kind of a family rivalry. For fun, it'd be great. So yeah, how about it? Good for them. Good for the Mets, but also good for the Tigers, man. They're 1 win away. If they win tomorrow, Detroit moves on and eliminates Cleveland. But let's move on. Let's recap last week's college football games. I won the week over my buddy Max Yarn, so I won my college. I finished 7-5 in my picks. Wasn't pretty, but hey, I did better than I did a couple weeks ago. So yeah, Oregon dominated Michigan State. Dylan Gabriel was turned the ball over a few times, which kind of scary. But hey, they got it figured out. They played better in the second half and pretty much controlled it. Beat Michigan State. Now they're ready for a big showing with Ohio State, which we'll get into a little bit. So that was a win for them. Probably the biggest shocker of the weekend was Vanderbilt beating Alabama. Alabama was number 1 at the time. No one saw this coming, honestly. No one in the nation could saw Alabama fall to Vanderbilt. I'm stunned. Hey, as a Hokie fan, I lost to Vanderbilt wasn't so bad after all. Now that Vanderbilt beat the top team in the nation at the time last week. First time ever in school history that ever happened. So that's really congratulations. That's the team of the week I'd say in college football. That really impressed me the most was Vanderbilt. It wasn't our pick, but I just did not expect. I did not expect it all. I thought at least Alabama would still win, but wow. This has been a special year for that team. So give it up for them. I figure I want to talk about that one. One of my picks I had right too was Ohio State beating Iowa. I figured it was going to be a blowout there because, what do you say? Iowa's never a good offensive team, and Ohio State just knows how to dominate, Iowa for some reason. So yeah, that was a good. That was kind of a dominant win by Ohio State. Tennessee with a big shock here. That's another big upset. So Tennessee, number 4 at the time, loses to Arkansas. So another big upset in the SEC. So I had that one wrong. I really thought Tennessee was going to win, but man, Arkansas, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised they pulled it off. But Tennessee offense wasn't as explosive as they've been beginning of the year. So once they get into conference play, the games get a lot tougher, it feels like. So that was Miller Stunner. That was one of our picks I had last week. I got that one wrong. Auburn, Georgia, it was our oldest rivalry, but Georgia pretty much dominated. They kind of controlled the tempo of the game. They knew they had to get back on track after losing to Alabama. They knew they had to. So that was a good one for them. Penn State, they didn't cover, but they should have won by a lot more against this bad UCLA team. I had that figured right, but I don't know what to say. Penn State still undefeated, but now they moved up to number 4 in the rankings just for this week's ranking. So yeah, Penn State, solid win. UCLA 11 points, but just they didn't cover the spread, which they should have won by a lot more. A lot of fans are saying, but we'll see what Penn State can do going throughout the rest of the season. But Miami gets lucky again. The Miami Hurricanes. Even though they're a good team, they got Cam Ward. Another comeback win. This time they were down 35-10 against Cal. College Guineas there. I had Cal almost pulled the FTS, but another heartbreaker for an ACC team. Miami finds a way to win again. Cam Ward, 437 yards passing. His Heisman campaign continues. Much as I'm salty about the Virginia Tech getting routed by the Miami, but hey, that's a really good win. Coming back from that much, I'll gotta give them credit to the Miami Hurricanes. They found a way. This one, I did not see it coming in the blowout. I thought it was going to be a tightly contested game. Missouri gets absolutely destroyed by A&M. Missouri no longer a top 10 team. They suffered their first loss in a while. One of the longest active winning streaks is over. So A&M got that one pretty good. So A&M's moving back up all of a sudden to 11 spots. Back in the top 15, something like that. Michigan goes down. They lose the national championship rematch. And Washington gets revenge. Give it up to the Washington Huskies. Pull up for an upset here. It's another top 10 team goes down. Probably one of the best Saturdays in college football last week. So many upsets. I could not believe that happened. But hey, Washington won. Think about like that championship game last year. They got revenge. What they wanted. So good for them. Ole Miss looks solid. Beat South Carolina like I told you they were going to get back on track, and they certainly did. Went into a hostile environment and only held South Carolina to 3 points. Their defense looked pretty good. So really good one for Ole Miss. Then Clemson, not surprised winning that one. I wasn't surprised Clemson was going to win that one for Florida State. Florida State, I think it's time to move on from Mike Norvell if you're a Florida State fan. I mean, 1-5 start. Probably. I mean, I haven't seen Florida State play this in a while. It's got to be tough right now to be a Seminoles fan. After all these high expectations, after actually getting snubbed in the playoffs last year, so I feel for them right now. There's some other matchups. I mean, Carolina. You know, I had Carolina beating Pitt, but Pitt still undefeated. They found a way to win. It was a high-scoring game, but Pitt, I mean, their quarterback, Eli Holstein, he's starting to get his name back in the conversation for the Heisman. So another good performance by him. But let's talk about my Virginia Tech Hokies. Got back on track like they did. Dominated, went into Stanford and get their first conference win of the season, beating Stanford. So now they're 1-1 in conference play, 3-3 overall. I'm happy about that. Going into the bye week now, feeling good about it. Of course, it was like the temperature in California, in Stanford, California last week for Virginia Tech was 98 degrees. It felt like 100 degrees out there. They played in that extreme heat and looked pretty and played like a team. Taquan Felton had 4 catches for 84 yards and got a touchdown. So that was a good bounce back week for him and Kyron Jones. I mean, Virginia Tech's offense, turnover free. They look pretty good. Their defense dominated. Pretty much. I mean, they forced couple turnovers too. So they held San Francisco 7 points, just 1 touchdown. That was it. 31-7. So that's a pretty impressive win by Virginia Tech. Get back on track after losing back-to-back games. So hey, good for them. They're on the bye week this week, so we won't be picking them this week. That is a really good win for Virginia Tech. So that wraps up this week's from last week's recap. Let's recap also the NFL before we get into this week's picks. Before we get into that, let's talk about the NHL. My Buffalo Sabres are 1-2. Not a good start to the NHL season. And they got their home. Hello? All right. See me back on the air. All right. So I must be frozen all of a sudden. All right, back. All right. So yeah, last week the NFL. I did not do well. I sucked at MSP last week. I can't believe I lost my pick of the week. First pick of the week lost. I took the Thursday night game right away. Tampa Bay lost in an overtime thriller to the Falcons. I mean, so yeah, Tampa Bay. Second loss of the year. So Kirk Cousins had 500 yards passing. I still keep I lost that one, but yeah, great win for the Falcons though. Get back on track. The New York Jets losing in London. I won that pick. I took Minnesota. So of course, Aaron Rodgers. We don't know if he's gonna play Monday because he suffered an injury. Look like his knee bent a little bit in the London game. So we'll know what his status is for Monday Night Football against the Bills. We'll talk a little bit, but yeah, in that game. But so and then Saleh gets fired after that. They fire Robert Saleh. So now the Jets. What are they gonna do now? I mean, that's the future for them. So the Vikings obviously are having some great success, having undefeated. Panthers, I can't believe I took Carolina, but they got smoked by the Chicago Bears. Probably the best performance out of Caleb Williams so far as a rookie quarterback. I know, but I definitely gotta watch them. But they're up 2-0 though. I mean, I won the Ravens game though. I picked that one, but I did not do hot at all in that one. But that Ravens Bengals game probably one of the best games of the week. last week. Went in overtime, but the Ravens came out on top. Yeah, could be fun. It would be a good matchup, honestly.
Interesting. This game just got interesting.
Oh, it absolutely should be. How about the Tigers today, though?
How about the Detroit Tigers? You gonna talk about the Detroit Tigers?
Oh yeah, I mean, boy, they look good today. They look good this whole postseason in general. Honestly, starts with the pitching. I think it starts with.
Starts with the pitching, but it also starts with AJ Hinch and his game management skills.
That's true. I mean, Hinch has done a really good job as a game management. I mean, he's got that playoff experience back when he was manager for the Houston Astros.
Yep.
So I think.
All right, Instigator Mick, I'll let you get back to it, buddy.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time, Nick.
Yep. Great show tonight, man. Thanks.
Oh, of course. Well, all right. That was my cousin Nick, who is a Detroit Tiger fan here. So, next, let's start with my Buffalo Bills. How much of a train wreck the game is. Even though they lost on the last second field goal, but still, that offense, I don't know what to say. Josh Allen does not look like the MVP Josh Allen we saw for the first weeks of the regular season. Let's start with him. He had a rough game. 9 for 31 passing. Only completed 30% of his passes. That does not look like an MVP quarterback. I'm concerned about the offense right now. James Cook looked good, but I mean, we're lucky we came back. But still, we definitely look fraudulent. I mean, I'm very concerned about my Bills right now. I'm very concerned right now. The way they've been. But the reason why other than like that is McDermott. It starts with Sean McDermott. He costed the Bills that game. His management is terrible. I mean, the Bills should have fired him after that game. Let's be honest right there. He is not a good clock management guy. They should have Josh Allen got to learn to take role in these kind of moments eventually instead of relying on Sean McDermott. So I'm pretty pissed off at Sean McDermott as a fan. I think he should be fired. I'm telling you, if we lose the Jets, I don't know what to say about the season at this point. So I'm very disappointed in this loss. Not also because we lost to Stephon Diggs, too. I'm very just the way our offense came play looked terrible. They got to have a better game plan this week. But let's move on from that one. That bullshit. Jaguars finally got their first win. They brought back the throwback uniform, that old logo they had. It looked pretty good. I mean, Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas. We started Brian Thomas. They included that 85-yard touchdown. I mean, he looked pretty good as a rookie receiver. Jaguars, that's the kind of game they needed to get the first win. It was a back and forth. Joe Flacco looked pretty good too. But get off the Jags, they finally get their first win. That Dolphins-Patriots game, Dolphins winning an ugly kind of game against the terrible Patriots, so Dolphins are back on track. And the Commanders still been just such a surprise still. They continue their dominance. They dominate the Cleveland Browns. Boy, I think it's time for the Browns to move on from Deshaun Watson. Maybe start Jameis Winston or something like that. You think? I mean, I don't know. The Browns are just been a train wreck this year. 1-4. Last year this was a team that was in the playoffs last year. This is not the same Browns team, but they had their early struggles last year. They could get back on track, but I don't know. It's very concerning right now for the Browns. They still wish they had Baker Mayfield. I think Browns fans are thinking too. They're going to regret for a long time getting rid of Baker Mayfield. That organization will regret it. 4 o'clock recap. Broncos brought their old uniforms back. Their old uniforms, like Orange Crush. And they pretty much dominated the Raiders. So now the Raiders make a quarterback change this week. And the Cardinals pull off a huge upset over the 49ers. Cardinals get their second win of the year. Got off their losing streak. I'm surprised in that one. The 49ers. This is not the same 49ers team we've been seeing. They had not been the same since McCaffrey being out on the injured reserve for a while. So this 49ers team, they got to get something straightened out at some point. Got to get back to normal form. And the Green Bay Packers, they look back to themselves. I was wrong. I thought the Rams were going to win, but I was wrong in the Rams. They're close. It was a 5-point game, but I think the Packers, they got back to their form. But how embarrassing is it for the Seahawks to lose the New York Giants? That's got to be a tough break for Seattle fans, losing to them. And the Cowboys-Steelers game, it came down to the last play, pretty much down to the end. Wasn't thrilled, seeing America's team winning. Honestly, because, not thrilled at all. But, of course, the game was a 1-hour delay. The game didn't end until 1 in the morning. So we're staying up because it came down to an end. It was a clutter classic between these two, but Dallas came with a last-second touchdown. Dak Prescott turned the ball over 3 times, the Cowboys did. They found a way to win a close game. So that's a good win for them. It was kind of luck, but still, they found a way to win that one. And the Saints just get absolutely destroyed by the Chiefs. Chiefs won by 13 points. That was probably the most lopsided win. They should be winning by more than that. So and Derek Carr gets injured. So yeah, but congratulations to my cousin Nick, who was on the phone earlier with me. He won MSP last week, so he won the week, finishing +9. Good for him. But let's talk about this week's picks. Let's start with the college football ones for me this week. It's gonna be weird, Virginia Tech on a bye week making these college football picks. Let's start with the game at noon on ESPNU. It is a big matchup in the MAC. It is Toledo at UB. It's in Buffalo. Of course, Toledo's been a powerhouse for the MAC for a while. UB had a big win over Northern Illinois when Northern Illinois was ranked at the time. Both competing for a chance playing the MAC championship this year. I'm going to have to go with UB in this one. Usually I pick Toledo, but I just like the Bulls in this one. I don't know why. Home field advantage. I think it's their time now to get back to being a powerhouse in the MAC. And finally win that conference championship eventually. So, yeah, I got the Bulls in this one over Toledo. Next, this is a noon on ABC. This is SEC on ABC. Alabama hosting South Carolina. Is Alabama going to respond after last week's loss? After last week's loss at Vanderbilt, I'd say yeah. South Carolina is not. If it was in South Carolina, it'd be different. But I like Alabama. They're going to roll. They're going to be fired up after losing to Vanderbilt. So I got tied in this one big, not even close against South Carolina. Next, another noon game on ESPN. This is Clemson at Wake Forest. Clemson looking like the favorite to win the ACC. They could be in the conversation for the college football playoffs as well. Back in it, they've looked a lot better since losing to Georgia the first week. They've been on a roll. I like Clemson a bit. It's not going to be a close one. It's Clemson big on the road in Wake Forest. This Wake Forest team's not as good. Clemson just too much with Cade Klubnik. You might put himself in the Heisman conversation, maybe not. Yeah, Clemson looks pretty dominant right now. I got them. Next one of our big games of the week is number 4 Penn State at unranked USC. The reason why USC's unranked, it would have been ranked matchup, but USC losing to Minnesota. The Penn State will be testing this one, even though they barely beat Bowling Green this year, but I think they'll be testing this one in conference play. This is their toughest conference game to this date right now. They were testing against Illinois too, but this will be a very road environment. The last time these two teams met was in that Rose Bowl Classic between them back in 2016 season, but I got to go with the Nittany Lions. I think they're on a mission this year. They really want to get to the playoffs finally. After all those years of failing to make it, they got to make a statement when against USC. I think they will. Going in a tough road environment like USC and get the win. So I got the Nittany Lions this one. Next, you got Cal going to Pittsburgh to take on number 22 Pitt, who was 5-0. Pitt's undefeated still. Cal almost pulled off the upset over Miami last week. A heartbreaker, but I like Cal in this one. I think Cal's going to pull off the upset this week against Pitt. Pitt is due for a loss. Think about it. Even though he has shown he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, along with Cam Ward, some other greats like Milroe and all that. But still, I don't know. Something I see Pitt losing a game wants to happen. So that's the main thing is I'm kind of biased. I hate Pitt, so I go with the Cal Bears. Oh, this is another great matchup here. The Red River rivalry, Texas and Oklahoma. Number 1, Texas back to being the number 1 team in the nation, and it's number 18, Oklahoma. So this is a big one. First time these two are as SEC rivals in this Red River rivalry. I got to go with Texas for this one, no matter who their quarterback is. I like the Longhorns. They're fired up after losing Oklahoma last year. They want to get back this year, revenge. You gotta give me the hook. Gotta give me the horns. They definitely want to get that national championship this year. So they gotta beat Oklahoma if they want to prove it. So give me the horns. Next, an old rivalry game here: Stanford at Notre Dame. It's in South Bend. Who do I like in this one? I mean, I gotta go with Notre Dame. After I saw Stanford how bad they played against Virginia Tech, Stanford doesn't have the future ahead of them. Notre Dame still looking like the same team they've been doing. I think Notre Dame will dominate. Riley Leonard, it's crazy how he's still playing college football now, transfer from Duke. So I got the Irish in this one. Now it's one of the evening slate of games. Tennessee and Florida. Tennessee coming off a heartbreaking loss to Arkansas, an upset loss. I think they'll roll this week against the Gators. I mean, they're fired up. They needed to face some adversity, which they did. Now I think the Vols will get back on track. Nico Amulava is going to have a better game in offense. Tennessee is going to get back to themselves this week. But here's the big one here. 7:30, probably the biggest game of the year. Ohio State and Oregon. I mean, goodness, this is a huge playoff implication kind of game with these two. I mean, I'm excited for this one. College game could be at Oregon. Number 2, yeah, it's Ohio State number 2, and then Oregon's number 3. So Ohio State's kind of the road favorites. But I like the Oregon Ducks. Everyone's all high on Ohio State still, but I'm going to go with Oregon Ducks. Dylan Gabriel with that QB experience in them still. Being there for a long time. Of course, you got Will Howard, too, as a transfer, too. So they got a couple good transfer quarterbacks. This quarterback matchup is pretty good, but I like the Ducks, especially because it's in Eugene. If it was in Columbus, I would have taken Ohio State, but I can't. I can't sleep on the Ducks. This one. Let's got the Saturday night game, 7:30 on ABC, is Ole Miss and LSU, a huge SEC game. Jackson Dart, going into Death Valley at night, Very tough one. LSU wants to get back in the playoff picture, but I got to go with the Rebels again. I got to go with Ole Miss. Going into a hostile environment, I think Jackson Dart proved that he's going to make the playoffs here. Puts him in the Heisman conversation, so I got to go with Ole Miss. And then, now the 8 o'clock games. This was on Fox. West Virginia hosting Iowa State. Iowa State still undefeated. I smell an upset in that one. In Morgantown. West Virginia's going to stun Iowa State this weekend. Iowa State's proven they got one of the most returning production in the nation. And they're kind of the favorites on the road, but I don't know. West Virginia's a tough place to play. So I like the Mountaineers in this one. And finally, Syracuse at NC State. I got to go. It's an easy one. I'm going with Syracuse. Syracuse has been beating 2 ranked teams already. They've been having a really good year. They're starting their quarterback, who is an Ohio State transfer, so I like the Orange in this one. But now let's move on to the NFL picks now for this week. Let's start with tomorrow's game. The San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. This is on my pool on MSP, my Uncle Mike's pool. The spread is 3.5 favored by the 49ers. This one's a tough one if I take, but I still got to take I'm still taking the 49ers. I think the 49ers will cover, and I think they're going to get back to 49ers football. Like they've been dominating teams. Their defense is going to come out there and just give Geno Smith fits. It's in a tough environment like Seattle, but I got the Niners. Next, another second straight week, another London game, 9:30 in the morning on NFL Network. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chicago Bears. So Caleb Williams, 2.5-point favorites at the Jaguars. Jaguars got their first win, but I got to go with the Jaguars in London. For some reason, they do well in London, so I got to pick Jacksonville. I got to take the points. Jacksonville wins this one outright. This one's one of the big matches, the 1 o'clock slate. The Washington Commanders at the Baltimore Ravens. You got the rookie Jayden Daniels at a big test against a very tough defense like the Baltimore Ravens. That's a really good matchup here. Dual threat QBs. Lamar Jackson versus Jayden Daniels. Couple of Heisman winners, obviously. But the thing is, they compare Jayden Daniels to Lamar Jackson. They both got similar styles, but Jayden Daniels is having an impressive rookie season. Spread is 6.5 favored by the Ravens. I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the Commanders spread. I think Baltimore does not cover, and I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be another one of those shootouts like the Ravens-Bengals. It's another one of those high-scoring games with a lot of good offenses like the Washington and Baltimore. Man. It could be a high-scoring game very well. I expect a lot of points in that one. Another 1 o'clock game, the Arizona Cardinals at the Green Bay Packers. Of course, Packers are favored by 4.5. Usually I never pick them, but I'm going to pick them this week. The Cardinals got off a big win, but usually after a big win, they struggle. I like the Packers in this one, especially because it's in Lambeau. So give me Green Bay. And then next, the Houston Texans at the New England Patriots. Texans are road favorites. By a touchdown, 6.5 the spread is, but they got to win by a touchdown, so I'm going to take the Texans spread. Of course, Texans are missing Nico Collins. He has been put on IR after getting injured in the Bills game last week. But I'm still taking the Texans. Of course, Patriots also start make a QB change. Drake May will make his NFL debut this week since they benched Jacoby Brissett. So they make a QB change. But I like the Texans this one, no matter who the quarterback is for the Patriots. Next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are the favorites, but that line's probably changed now that Derek Carr's out for multiple weeks with an oblique injury. Oblique, so Derek Carr's out for a while after getting injured Monday night. So I'm going to go with the Buccaneers in this one. This is a bounce-back game for them, and plus the Saints starting Spencer Rattler as a quarterback now in place of Derek Carr. So I got to go with the Buccaneers in this one. The Cleveland Browns at the Philadelphia Eagles. This one's a tough pick because it's a big line. The Eagles favored by 8.5. But I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the Browns the points. I think the Eagles won't cover because they're just so fraudulent. Let's be honest. The Eagles are so fraudulent. Hurts against the bye week, but maybe I could be wrong in this one, but I don't know. I just think I'm taking the points because it's such kind of a big spread in this one. It could be a lot closer because the Eagles find ways to blow their, a big lead and all that. Next, the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans, of AFC South showdown here. Colts are the slight favorites on the road. Titans don't know what their quarterback is, if Levis is going to play or not. His injury, and also, makes him look good in relief when Levis got hurt winning the Monday night game. That's the last time the Titans played. Meanwhile, the Colts looking good without Richardson. They got Joe Flacco straight off the couch again for second year. So I got to take the Colts. I got to go with Joe Flacco in this one. So give me Indy in this one. They'll cover. Next, the LA Chargers at the Denver Broncos. The Chargers are the slight favorites on the road. The Denver Broncos have been red hot lately. They've won 3 straight. Yeah, Q, go Yankees. Yes, sir. So I'm going to have to go with Bo Nix and Denver Broncos. They have just been on a roll as of late. They're going to make it 4 straight. For some reason, the Chargers might slip up in this one. This is another week I'm taking Denver. There's another 4 o'clock game. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders make a QB change. They bench Gardner Minshew and will start Aiden O'Connell. Steelers coming off a tough loss to the Dallas Cowboys, a heartbreaker on Sunday Night Football. Now, I think this is their bounce back week. They're the favorites on the road. And I'm picking the Steelers as my pick of the week. So, I'm sure my buddy Max Aaron's happy with that one. Putting the Steelers as my pick of the week. And I'll be watching the game with him this weekend. So that's my pick of the week. If anyone's watching, as the Steelers. Falcons and the Panthers is a weird 4 o'clock game in Carolina, 4:25. The Falcons are the favorites. I got to go with Kirk Cousins. He's going to roll. I go with Carolina. Carolina's playing a little bit better, but, AFC South, NFC South showing games are tough. Those division games are tough, but I got to go with Atlanta. Which way Kirk Cousins been playing this year. So I like Atlanta. Then the America's Game of the Week at 4:25 on Fox. Promotes the nation. Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys. It was a thriller last year. Last year, it was a Monday night game. The Saturday special Monday Night Football. That was such a thriller between those two. Late in the regular season last year. Lions are actually the favorites on the road. And I got to go with it. I'm going to take the Lions cover. I don't know why. I think they'll win this one. Dallas feeling good about a big win. They're going to struggle, and it's Detroit. This Detroit team is going to give Dak Prescott a lot of problems. So give me Detroit. Sunday Night Football. Out of all matchups, they put the Bengals and the Giants. Bengals, I get the reason why they put it because Joe Burrow. But still, putting the Giants in Sunday Football. And the Bengals are favorite, 3.5. So I got to go with the Bengals. Seriously, both having losing seasons. So this is a must-win game for the Bengals. They almost won back-to-back weeks. Come off heartbreaker to the Ravens. So I got to go with the Bengals. And finally, the main event, the Monday night game. My Buffalo Bills take on Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. That's going to be a good QB match. Of course, last time these two met on Monday Night Football in the Meadowlands, Rodgers gets a season-ending injury last year. It's going to be interesting how this one goes. Oh, yeah. Greetings. Indeed, but yeah. So my Buffalo Bills, the key thing is get back to their way they started the first week of the season. Bring that Josh Allen back. Yeah. I think it's time to bring back that Josh Allen and also let James Cook. Rodgers is going to have a hard time with this Jets defense. Of course, Jets do got momentum now. Could they have momentum after firing Coach Robert Saleh? They could be. So it's a big game for the FCs. I'm going to definitely go with the Bills since they're favorites. That's what I'll do. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills. And yeah, hopefully my Yankees will prevail and win game 3 tonight. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We will see you next week. It might be an early 1 o'clock start this next week because I'll be at kickball for playoffs next week. So I'm going to start in the afternoon next week. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week.